Hey, welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy.
I'm Tim.
I'm Rod.
And today we're taking a look at Super Fantasy Rumble. It's put out by Passion Project, and it plays up to 4 people in roughly 45 minutes. So let's take a look and see what you get in the box. Okay, so this is what you get in Super Fantasy Rumble. In Super Fantasy Rumble, the basic idea is this is supposed to resemble like those Saturday morning cartoons that you grew up and you love. So you're going to get a team of people. You're going to get a warrior, 2 warriors and a leader, and you're going to be using those people to battle it out on this playing field with other fantasy people that you're going to fight. So, Tim, why don't you tell us about the instructions and how easy or hard it was to get into the game?
All right, so here's the instruction booklet. It does have some good pictures in here, but other than the pictures and the bolded words, this was a not very good instruction booklet here because you had to read through the entire thing to get even a single section because everything reference everything from every other part. It's never lined out very good on exactly how you actually play the game. The turns are kind of separated out into sections here, but then it doesn't tell you if they're like the specific order in here, so you kind of have to guess at that part until you actually play it, and then you go back and reference the rules again and say, oh, that must have been what he meant. This must be what he kind of didn't say here, so that's what he has to. That's what he actually wants you to do. And there's never like there's a setup example. Like this is how your first game should be, and these are some guys you should take or anything like that. There's a lot of guesswork as to how you're going to go through this instruct book and how you're actually going to play the first time around. Yeah. And so it's very confusing and very difficult to actually get started playing the game. Even though in actuality it's a nice simple game. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember we wanted to say just how does one turn work? Like, can we move multiple times? Do you move and then attack, or do you attack and then move? Can you do it in any order? We were just like, just tell me how one turn works. So sure. It was a little interesting there. So, okay, so let me tell you, Rod. Before I do that, why don't you tell us about the components that come with the game?
Okay, so the first part I'll cover is just the actual quality of the pieces. I mean, what's kind of interesting here, and the reason I laugh because that is a thick box. I mean, it's just holding cards. It is a thick box. I mean, it's as thick as some like Twilight Imperium, which is a box that's humongous. This is a thick. I mean, it's thick. Well made. The board is nice and thick. Nice dice. The cards are fine. They're they're not thick or thin. They're just about what they should be. The negative I have towards it would be, I guess, the colors and the choices on that type of thing. Like this is very bland right here, the dash, slide, closing, and then the artwork itself is supposed to be the Saturday morning cartoon stuff, which I understand, but it's like all the backgrounds are just like, if you look at the board, it's just kind of real simple and.
The Warriors and cards don't even have backgrounds. They're just simple, plain white background, and you just have the character on there.
And I think it's neat what they did with they have a whole bunch of different characters from spacemen to monsters to cowboys, cowgirls, and so on. And the artwork looks like what we used to watch in the Saturday morning cartoons, but the rest of it is just, I would call it generic. Probably be my best word for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you how Super Fantasy Rumble plays. At the beginning, you're going to be dealt a warrior, or 2 warriors, and a leader card. And so, so you're going to get a leader.
So you get the actual cards, and then you actually get the roster cards, which stay in front of you.
Yeah.
While the other ones with the actions and stuff actually go out on the board.
So what I do like about the game is it's got arrows on it, and so basically you're going to be fighting against somebody on the other side of the table. So this is a 2-player game or a 4-player game, and so basically somebody on the other side can control 2 people, 2 sets of people, and then you control. So at the beginning you're going to place your guys out onto the board however you want to, wherever they're going to be. Then the other person does the same thing, and then you're just going to attack. So you have ways that you can move. You can dash dash around, which just means you can move to an available space next to you. You can slide, which is kind of a cool mechanic where you're going to slide everybody down and it wraps around. So if somebody that was here, you could slide them, they could end up here. And then you can castle, which just means you're going to switch places with an adjacent hero, warrior, whatever they're called. And so there's movements that you could do, and then it's just simply attacking. So you're going to take the 2 blue dice and you're going to roll against somebody that you're going to attack. And so you're trying to meet a number. So there's a number on your character if you do a regular attack. And then if that person has a defense in the same direction as you, then you add that onto it. So you're trying to beat that. If you roll and you beat that number, then they take a hit. And so each character off the board is going to have a die that they just sit in front of their person or on their person. And every time they get hit, you're just going to roll this thing down until they're out of hits. And then you can remove them from the game. So that's really how it works. So you're going to be going through this. And so there's 2 halves to the game. The first half, you use the entire board. After you get under 6 players, then you're going to move into the rumble area. And so you're going to come into this smaller area. So that means more attacks are going to happen more often. And so it speeds up the game. And so attacks happen when you have these action arrows. So if you have an arrow pointing left, right, up, down, and diagonally in the corners, if you're facing an opponent and they are where you have an arrow, then you can attack them unless you have some kind of a special ability. And then you roll the dice, like I said, and then you're just going through actions. The person does have the option to defend if they have that special ability to defend. Otherwise, if you meet the criteria, you add up and you get more, then they're going to get hit and you can't stop it. So they have regular attacks and then they have special attacks. The way that the special attacks work is you have to roll a number first and then you can proceed with that number. So if you fail to even roll the required number, then you just don't, your special attack, you don't even get a chance to see if it hits. And so that's how that basically works. And so each character has special abilities, special things that they can do that maybe somebody else can't. And so that adds a lot of flavor to the game because who did I get this time and what can I do with them and how do these guys work together? And so that is Super Fantasy Rumble. You play until everybody on the other team is gone. So let's talk about the game, what you liked and what you didn't like about it.
I did like the simplicity of it. You know, it's got the action arrows. It's all laid out on the cards for you. So when you're looking to activate somebody, you know exactly what they can do. There's no looking back at the rule books for those specific parts, right? And so you know which direction they can attack and everything. So you kind of just think about your different characters and what moves you need to put them in so that they get the most advantageous attack versus the other people. So it's pretty simple. It's kind of like chess in that effect because you have which I'm sure is where they got dash, slide, castling from. Castling is a chess move. So that's kind of the thing. So each one can move all within any of these, but the fact that they can only attack in certain directions kind of makes it for more interesting strategy. But like I said before, there's too many things that aren't really explained very well in the rule book, like say the special attacks. If you're doing a special attack versus somebody, do you add their defense to it? Or is it, since it's a special attack, do you not add the defense to it? And does it matter? Because on here, you know, you hit with a 6+ on this guy. Well, what if they have a defense value? Do you add the defense value to that? It doesn't really go over those kind of things and those little nitpicky things that you're going to run into that you're just not going to have an answer for.
Yeah, and the problem with that a lot of times is like I actually liked the game. I liked what you could do with it. Like we're talking the special movements, sliding, moving people around. I could really see how there could be some deep strategy to that. But when you're confused on some of the basic things, then it pulls you out of the game. And you're like, well, I don't know if you can really do that. And then there's arguments about, can you really do that? Or what does it exactly mean? When castle, can you go diagonally? But it doesn't say, but it says adjacent. So you're just having all these little things that pull you out of the game, and then you argue. So then at the end of the game, you're like, well, I don't think you really won because I think you cheated. You know?
For my part of it, you know, I like the way it played. I will agree with that. The cards themselves and how they counter, you know, how you counter each other and interact, the way that we end up playing it. So we're 100% right with the rules. But I guess the problem, I feel like it's half done game. The game board, other than you getting left or right or trying to get into position, where you land plays no factor at all. I would have loved to have seen that each one of these spaces was some type of terrain or something specific. So if you're thinking of Saturday morning cartoons, you're thinking of, maybe this is a BC period, where it's, like a dinosaur area, where certain characters will get benefits from that. And where this is, might be space, and where this one might be, just something different, and, I think that would have added to the game, is making the board part of the game, other than it just being the squares.
Yeah. So at the end of our reviews, we like to give a 1-die rating. Do we think you should green go buy this game? White means maybe you wouldn't buy it, but you would play it. And then red means you wouldn't buy it and you wouldn't play it because you hate it. So here's our die rating.
Got yours in your pocket?
Yeah, I was trying to keep them separate. All right.
I'm ready.
So here we
Power
go.
to the dice.
And reveal. Oh, we got a red and 2 whites. I want to go first.
Sure.
I want to just say why I would give it a white. Like, I think if I could just maybe go on Board Game Geek or something and get some clarifications on a few of the things that I don't understand, or maybe if the publisher would want to do that, I would play this game, because I like it. If you wanted to play this with me, I don't know if I would buy it, but I would definitely sit down and play it because I can see the depth that could be in there with these cards. But I don't know if I could recommend buying it just yet.
Well, I give it a red because to me it does seem like a beta version of the game. It's lacking a lot of artwork and stuff like that, and a lot of stuff that would add some flavor to the game, and not just the fact that the rules aren't very, don't explain things very well, but also like when you get down to it, like just a couple guys on the field, it's supposed to be more epic, but at that point, it doesn't matter what you do because you can get to the position to attack, to everything. And so if you got unlucky and got all support characters, in your role, and the other guy got all hit guys, then you're just going to get slaughtered. So because some guys only have rally cry or something like that, and this other guy has hit streak. The difference in the characters is there's no real balancing for those either. So a lot of the strategies just goes out the window, and just stuck with random die rolls and just kind of hoping.
Just keep running. Stay alive.
So on my part, I was teetering between red and white, and Tim hit the nail on the head about the game. Well, let me just say this first: if the way we do the scoring, if the game's on the board, we would play it. If I go to the house and this is on the board, I'm going to play. I'm not going to buy it, but I would go ahead and play it because I like the game mechanics enough to do it. But talking about, I believe 100% this is a half-finished game because you have everything you said, plus the end of this has to be some type of climactic thing. It has to be something that gathers up and it's like something big. And it doesn't. You're right. It's like it's kind of determined. We're kind of sitting there, okay,
How long is this going to take, Dan?
You couldn't even, like in chess, where you get away from the guy and not let him hit you.
Yeah.
It's like you just were okay. I'm going to hit him. I'm going to hit him. It didn't matter really what you did. You're going to hit each other. So there was no strategy involved on that part of it. So it's half finished, is what I would say. I would play it still because I think this mechanics. I would love to see this game finished or in a fantasy realm type thing where you have magic or you have something like that going on. But I think it's as of right now, it's half finished. I would agree.
So that's our review of Super Fantasy Rumble. We've got a lot more reviews on our website, BoardGameCloset.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, and as always,
Support your local hobby shop and your board game cafe.